All right, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us here today in Avaap's virtual booth. We're at Tableau Conference, Day 3. We've got a fantastic session lined up here today. My name is Nehul Vyas, and I'm a Director of Analytics Consulting and leader of our Tableau Solution Group here at Avaap. We're so appreciative of the opportunity to present to you all today, and certainly appreciative of your attendance and engagement throughout this session as we discuss the core tenets and concepts related to developing an analytics center of excellence.
Before we dig into our
topic, I'd like to provide just a quick overview of Avaap and share a little bit about ourselves. Avaap is a cross-platform, industry-specialized global IT advisory and management consulting firm. Our span of consulting and technology resources enable us to build for the future faster and better than before, combining a massive breadth of experienced consultants across several consulting practice areas, with the ability to support clients across multiple sectors and industries. Our analytics practice is within Avaap's Advisory Services business unit, which combined with other market-leading advisory practice groups enables Avaap's consulting resources to support our clients through various offerings ranging from business analysis and process design, enterprise solution strategy, organizational change management, program and project management, and testing and deployment activities. These consulting offerings provide our clients with the assurance that Avaap brings market-leading technical and functional consulting resources to every engagement to support our clients' goals. Our analytics offerings span the entire data value chain from organizational data strategy, where we help clients develop a comprehensive roadmap to their analytics and technology investments, rapid ROI, where the focus is on driving adoption and utilization of an analytics capability across the organization's footprint, and continuous value to focus on sustained and scalable growth. These three pillars are complemented through our ability to execute engagements from robust and transformative solution delivery, supporting enterprise data initiatives, rapid Tableau dashboarding quick starts, Tableau technical health checks with a focus on the infrastructure, setup, and configuration of the Tableau environment. And we even serve as a managed services provider to some of our clients to fully host their Tableau capability, accompanied with full service operational SLAs and hands-on maintenance and administration. Avaap is a sponsor of TC again this year, and we're so very much looking forward to engaging with you all in our virtual booth. So come check us out and let us learn about your data journey. With that said, it's my pleasure to welcome our presenter for today, Jeff Brown, Vice President of Avaap's Analytics Practice. Jeff, thanks so much for coming here today. Really looking forward to this session as you kind of give us an overview of those key principles and tenets of an analytics center of excellence. With that said, Jeff, the floor is yours.
All right, thanks, Nehul. So just to get us started here, we'll talk a little bit from a background perspective on why a center of excellence can be beneficial to your organization. You know, the demands to be more data-driven have never been higher. You know, as we look at the maturity curve here on the slide, you know, there's a lot of different areas that an organization can be as it relates to their data maturity. And then not only from the organization overall, but the different business units and departments within the organization can be in very different places. So a Center of Excellence is a great way to help bring all those business units together in a similar way, help the rising tides lift all ships approach to help get all of the different areas within the business up the maturity curve. Additionally, you know, there's changes in the delivery model, right, with the way that data solutions are delivered to folks in 2020 and beyond. In the last several years, there's been a big shift from almost exclusively traditional delivery model to a hybrid traditional plus modern delivery model. So in the traditional, right, we had the very, you know, kind of consistent approach with the data warehouse and reporting pointing on top of the data warehouse, very IT focused, you know, sending out spreadsheets and things like that as far as consumption methods. But on the modern side, moving more into data visualization, obviously a strength of Tableau, analytics, self-service, all of those different things we know about, but Tableau, but also the modern way of delivering information to people. You know, traditional isn't a bad model, right? There's still a lot of great reporting that happens that way, and it doesn't mean modern's, you know, the perfect way, but they do reflect the shifting expectations of our end users. Most importantly, though, as it relates to a center of excellence, the hybrid model puts stress on the governance, support, skills, and user expectations. And again, that's where a Center of Excellence can kind of be the glue to help pull that together and get everyone moving in the same direction. Another challenge that, again, the Center of Excellence can help with is, we've got increased expectations of the type of information that can be provided in an organization. So, traditionally, the focus was very much in the descriptive realm, providing good insights into what has already happened. And obviously, BI's excelled at that for years to be able to provide that complete picture for folks of, describing the situation through data as it currently exists. However, there's increasing ways that folks are looking to consume information and find new insights in their data, including, predictive and prescriptive type use cases, which, just challenge the existing delivery models, expectations from users, and from a technology perspective, the building and delivery of those solutions. So, again, a Center of Excellence can help. You've got a lot of transformation going on here, both with the technology, the type of use cases that are coming up, and the Center of Excellence can kind of help pull that together to support the wide variety of use cases that are coming together. One journey we've been a part of, kind of showing this progression in action and how we use the Center of Excellence to do it is the state of Ohio, where we run their Tableau instances and perform a lot of the project level work on top of Tableau. We started out, helping them with the data warehouse and kind of traditional BI implementation. From there, once we kind of got into the self-service realm and had reached that point that traditional BI tends to reach, where there's a bit of an IT bottleneck, and we needed to get more self-service capabilities out into the agencies, that's when we expanded into Tableau. And so as we move up the maturity scale, now we got into a more analytical back end. So some of the data platforms that Tableau communicates with were enhanced and brought in and modernized to be able to bring in new capabilities around things like unstructured data, machine learning, heavy compute type use cases. And then finally, we kind of glued it all together through the Innovate Ohio platform to be able to bring data together in a common platform with technologies like Tableau and others that allow users to work with and access the data in new ways. So, this is a journey that we've been a part of. I'll reference a few Ohio use cases today just to help show how we've used, help them up the progression of the maturity curve, and also have used the Center of Excellence to make that happen. All right, so talking through the challenges, best practices, and lessons learned now. Again, so from the Center of Excellence perspective, why is that useful, and how can you leverage the Center of Excellence to gain value? There's a lot of headwinds in doing data projects. That's why they're often difficult to pull off with success. But the Center of Excellence as a sort of cohesive group can help drive through some of these challenges. From the leadership perspective, a lot of times some of these initiatives get launched with a lack of support from leadership to facilitate collaboration, right? So that's an opportunity for the Center of Excellence to help facilitate that collaboration and work across the different stakeholder groups to make the project successful. Technology implementations are sometimes challenged to be able to provide the flexibility to meet the user's evolving needs. There can be issues of stalled momentum and the inability to produce and communicate early wins. So, if folks don't see those wins early on, it can really stall the momentum out, because it's, folks are becoming accustomed to projects not being successful rather than expecting them to be successful and having kind of a playbook for how to make them successful. The need to leverage enterprise data presents challenges, because often the data can be siloed, have different data owners, different profiles, security requirements, et cetera. And if there's not a common approach to access that data, again, through something like a Center of Excellence setting those standards, it can be a challenge to work across the different aspects of the enterprise data and the different profiles and requirements around it. Analytics projects are rapidly evolving, again, presenting new challenges for IT staff, where they may potentially have had traditional delivery models and now are starting to evolve into a hybrid approach. Again, the Center of Excellence can help bring that along by becoming a group that's well versed in the go forward or the hybrid traditional plus modern approach for delivering data solutions, and can help bring the IT group along, or help bring the business users along from the self-service side to get everyone working in the same direction. All right, so other challenges that centers of excellence can help with. So first of all, one of the challenges with maturing analytics within an organization, it affects all areas, right? It affects kind of the global buckets of people, process, and technology. On the people side, they've been used to traditionally consuming information in a more passive manner, right? So they get sent reports. Potentially they do a lot of their work in Excel. They don't necessarily have as much control to ask new questions. That's a more modern approach to data delivery, but it is a new expectation or a new opportunity for our people out there, and we need to provide mechanisms for them to be able to embrace and understand that new modern data world. There's also a change in expectation around expertise, right? So traditionally, the business side was responsible for sort of the functional knowledge of the use case and the information that was being, the question that's being asked and how to best answer it, and then IT was the one that built the technical solution. In the more modern approach, we're merging the skill sets. There's certain solutions that come out of IT, there's certain solutions that come out of the business, and then obviously, best case scenario, there's a lot of solutions that come out of both the business and IT. There's a merging of skill sets. There's requirements knowledge in IT more. There's technical delivery skills happening out in the business now. And so, it's just a changing expectation for folks, and the COE can really help with that. On the process side, right, we've talked about different delivery models, more traditional waterfall, right, get a bunch of requirements, go build data warehouses and a bunch of standard reports, and then bring this back months later. That whole approach is obviously changing to become more agile, looking at doing prototyping to really work in an iterative manner through the requirements and the build process. So that's a pretty fundamental change in the delivery methodology of information and how products get built. Governance, has also been a big change from a process perspective. In a traditional model, access usually enforces the governance, right? People don't have access except to do very specific things, and that helps sort of control the flow of information through those solutions. At the same time the information is controlled, it also becomes a bottleneck for the business to get what they need in a timely manner. So the governance model in modern has to have some level of flexibility while not being kind of a wild west as well. So setting up those standards is obviously an excellent way. Enforcing new ways for delivery models, helping to be a leader in that space is a great way for a center of excellence to add value in an organization. Finally, on the technology side, we've moved from a kind of traditional architecture that's a very repeatable pattern of there's a source, everything gets ETL'd to the data warehouse, and everything gets pushed out from the data warehouse to reporting, right? That's kind of the traditional way that BI was delivered. Now we've got use case specific architectures, right? So we've got streaming opportunities, we've got Tableau pointed to source systems in certain cases. We've got dashboards that have a mix of sources based off the use case. We have batch, we have near real-time batch, we have streaming. So all these different solution patterns that are used to optimize the specific use case. Also in, there's in the traditional model, it was just really if there was a new domain area, that's when innovation happened. So it was really just kind of a new project to add new types of information. Now there's new ways to deliver information to people. So, obviously dashboards are great for certain folks, data mining and, sort of doing just analytical work with your hands on the data is great for other folks. Other folks need more standard reporting. Some folks react well to filters and flexibility. Other folks just want to be sent the answer. So all of those are different approaches that are available now through the technology advancement that we've seen. But it's important for a group such as COE to be able to help the organization understand how to best deliver use cases in the way that the users are kind of set up to consume the information. So we'll dig into each of these just a little bit more. starting with the people side. And then, the adoption change curve is really no different in data as it is anywhere else, which is change is difficult for folks. So new ways to do information or to consume information, to deliver data related projects is just a kind of a fundamental change in the way that folks do their work. So along with that comes an opportunity for a Center of Excellence to help folks along that adoption curve. So becoming more aware of the new ways that information is delivered or solutions are delivered, understanding those, so help drive the learning side, getting folks excited, right? User groups, forums, things like that to get folks bought in, and then turning into getting their commitment, getting them on board, and then driving that into action and successful delivery of projects. So that again is a key area where a Center of Excellence can really help out. Also, helping folks to understand the why. When there's just a what or a how, that's not generally a recipe for success. We need to get folks thinking in the world of the why. Why are we doing what we're trying to do? We're generally trying to drive more value, more efficiency, better outcomes, et cetera. And that can be important to help understand how to frame projects so that they do get adopted, people understand the change and get value out of it. Some best practices for helping to drive adoption out of a Center of Excellence, helping to interact with the executive sponsors. If you do that singularly out of a COE or in collaboration with the end customers, obviously that can provide a consistent conduit to the executives, which can be well received. Additionally, it's important to communicate at multiple levels. So you can't just get executive sponsorship and expect everyone, as you continue to work down the ranks into where the project delivery is happening, to just fall in line. It's important to communicate at multiple levels of leadership, and the COE and the consistency there can help make sure that happens. The not doing it in a vacuum, right, is really creating a community of folks who are excited and, thinking about the art of the possible, right, doing whiteboarding sessions and things like that to help get an understanding of the high-level requirements, and then really turning that into what's possible using expertise that's, the COE has developed through delivering other projects and being on the cutting edge with new innovation and things like that to understand what's possible in 2020 and beyond. Again, we talked about the why rather than the what, so covered that. It can be important to create a brand and vision for your analytics program, your Tableau practice. If you make it a thing, make it something that folks understand, that it's not just a little one-off way of doing things. There's actually an approach and a methodology and training, and obviously then just a ton of value coming out of the projects. That's what helps people jump on board with things. Finally, refining your capabilities. That's a great space for a COE. People don't tend to like to be bleeding edge when they're planning out projects and obviously introducing that level of risk into their projects. So the COE can do some sort of piloting and trying to drive a little bit of the innovation so that they're trying to stay a step ahead of where some of the use cases are coming. So when it is time to scale up some of these use cases, the technology and the techniques have been proven out. Finally, engagement on the people side as well, and using the COE to do that. There's definitely a lot of different ways that that stakeholders need to be engaged with. There's general communications, forums, training courses, and the COE can really help create that structure and define how this activity is going to happen in a consistent manner. Obviously, if you've got all of your Tableau projects that are happening in a consistent manner, you have consistent communications around it. When you have forums, you're bringing forth solutions that have been developed. You're knowledgeable about the solutions that have been developed and know how to choose the ones that folks would most get excited about and hop on board with. And then obviously the training side as well. The COE can augment commercially available training, online training, create curriculums for folks so they can understand how to work through and become skilled up in Tableau and other solutions in your analytics stack. So from the people side, we'll step into the process a little bit now and how the COE can help contribute to process. So, adopting the rapid prototype approach. So again, if your organization is, using a more traditional delivery model or is at least more often using that, you have solutions that take a while to get turned around. I think the expectation obviously is, you're getting things done in weeks or a month now instead of, 6 months to a year for data projects. So how do you make that happen? And this is really an approach that a COE can help drive out within an organization. Data projects tend to be a little bit different than source system projects. And the COE can help ensure that data projects are done in ways that make data projects effective and efficient and cost effective and all that stuff. And one of those ways is the rapid prototype approach. So in here we've got prototype in days, pilot in weeks, and production in months. And what this allows for is the organization to confirm functionality as additional time and effort is put into it, and ensure it's continuing to meet the requirements. If it's ever not, right, it's adjusted to do so. But we don't go into this model where something gets built for 3 months just to realize it didn't meet the needs. The question had changed during the period of time when it was off being built. So this keeps us in constant contact with our end user community and ensures that they iteratively are part of the process. We can evolve. We can do the art of the possible through here. By developing things into the solution that have proven out to have value to the end users. This is an example I'll draw on another Ohio-based approach here for a process and delivery model using Tableau and running it out of the COE. We've got at the top of the screen really a couple models that are a bit of a spectrum in between, where on the left side, we've got sort of complete self-service models where the business, or in the case of a state of government and state agencies that do, autonomous self-service creation of content, things like that. On the right side, we have the centralized BI team, the COE, who do the work and, create the content and the assets and perform knowledge transfer back to the agency for ongoing operations. A lot of time that's set up as a project. There could be costs associated with leveraging the COE, et cetera, to do those types of projects. And then the middle is really the spectrum where the two teams, the sort of centralized COE team and the federated self-service program area business side folks are collaborating and doing portions of the project each. And so, generally at the beginning of that, you might scope out who's going to do what, obviously requirements, testing, things like that, obviously work well out of the consuming business end users. And then the agency or the COE team can do a lot of the technical build. There's a lot of collaboration that can happen to help bring folks along, and still obviously just technical skills, but also approach and other methodology type things that can help the self-service people become more self-sufficient going forward. At the bottom of the screen is how this kind of can work from an overall Tableau deployment governance perspective. There's an enterprise site in the middle, which the COE kind of manages. There's enterprise data sources in there, enterprise content, dashboards, et cetera, that are kind of relevant to large groups across the organization that makes sense for the COE to run and maintain those. And then there's sites that are for different organizations within the larger enterprise where they can do their own self-service and create their own content, connect to their own data sources, et cetera. So it's an enterprise approach that contains a lot of federation in it to kind of meet the needs, so that we don't have a million versions of the truth, right? Where there's common requirements that can be handled by the COE and the enterprise. And then when there's agency-specific, BU-specific type requirements, those can be handled and the federated sites to deliver that content themselves. COE is also heavily involved in the governance angle, right, to create that consistency around some of the technical and even process glue that kind of goes across the whole deployment. Things like, how the administration of the server happens, security, help desk training, all that kind of stuff is generally done out of the COE, so it can be consistently applied across the organization. Some other enterprise service components which really fall into the COE within our deployment in Ohio, again, is advisory meetings, so going out and meet with new folks who are interested in onboarding to Tableau and understanding what use cases they have currently, how we could help them deliver those, just kind of high-level solution architecture type work, showing them the art of the possible in Tableau, other things that have been done that are similar. Again, just trying to get them understanding what the possibilities are within Tableau and the greater analytics capabilities and how that might apply to their use case. Making sure they feel properly onboarded so they understand, that they don't just get keys to a site on Tableau with no further guidance on how to administer their site, train their people, communicate with the COE, et cetera. So, that's another good process that's added for the COE to help sort of streamline how folks come on board to the Tableau instance. Any common integrations that may be helpful for them. So, just calling out, if you want to get, for example, some consistent SSO across your deployment, single sign-on, the COE can a lot of times, own those patterns so that they're fairly repeatable on different sites and different identity providers. Similarly with embedding, so if you do have embedded use cases, you can come up with a fairly consistent approach for that maybe the COE just kind of hands over as reusable code to make that process easier. Custom training, so where there's something specific within your organization or just to meet your users' needs in a different way, then, online training or even commercial training options. You could do some in-house training led by your COE. And then, other areas, just, helping groups through some sort of rapid development, connecting to data sources, things like that are a little bit challenging or can be a little bit challenging for folks starting out with Tableau. And that can obviously use the COE to help bring them along. And then they're obviously instrumental in things like Tableau days and Tableau user groups to help run those, bring forth the relevant speakers and content for those types of events, and obviously get everyone excited about the deployment. So finally, last area that we're going to dig a little bit deeper into is the technology. We don't have a ton of specific examples here just because every deployment is a bit different, but just showing how a COE can be leveraged and, you can help drive value through a consistent but flexible architecture. So this is, some super high-level views of, fairly typical capabilities in the data space in this day and age. You've got multiple different data sources from, traditional structure, to semi-structured to unstructured data. You need to know how to use batch processing, near real-time, or streaming. You've got multiple connection points, so you've probably got a data lake, a data warehouse. You may be hooking your reporting layer to source systems directly to do data profiling, do prototyping, things like that to help develop data models that might be migrated into the data lake or data warehouse. Or again, you could have a real-time solution that just obviously it's not a great across the board method, but one that could benefit certain use cases. And the COE can really help make sure that every project isn't a new sort of solution architecture exercise. So where use cases have used specific patterns before, and the COE can help make that folks aware of that. Obviously, the less time in projects that's spent on architecture, and the more time that's spent on delivering the specific solution is obviously time well spent. So the COE can really help with, sort of bringing that knowledge forward to say, hey, okay, based off of what you're trying to do here, I'd recommend, this type of architecture approach. We've done this before here. This is how that all worked. And then you just kind of accelerate through that architecture phase and into the specific build tasks for the use case. So that's, again, a way that a COE can help deliver value on the technical side, is just that knowledge and expertise from the architecture and deployment patterns perspective. Okay, finally, I'm just going to dig into a couple use cases we've had. Again, I'll leverage some of our Ohio use cases here. The point here is, these have all been delivered within the last couple months. And I think something that would not have been possible without that, kind of COE approach across the board that, Ohio has embraced and we've been privileged to be a part of with them. One, obviously, is COVID, right? So as soon as COVID hit, everything data related needed to be done yesterday. And so there just wasn't time to, have to figure out everything new on the fly. There was plenty of new things already to learn, about the disease itself. But, certainly the way the information needed to be put out and consumed, we had lots of good experience in place already from a COE perspective. And, we're able to quickly leverage that to get, dashboards out to the public, things like that in a matter of days. And, throughout this time, we've continued to augment, and, Ohio has kind of been seen as a leader in the response at using data with COVID. And I think a lot of the groundwork that's been in place around creating a culture around data through, initially our BI Shared Council, then sort of our Tableau group, and then finally the Innovate Ohio organization, Innovate Ohio platform, have really helped enable the ability to bring value to projects very quickly. And obviously COVID was a good example of that. Next one, again, these are things that have all been built within the last couple months. The Ohio Checkbook is another example that put all of the state and most of the local governments within Ohio put all their revenue and expense data online for the public to see. Again, we leveraged a lot of data and processes that have been refined over the years. We leveraged solution patterns that were already in place because of other work we had done, albeit not always publicly, but internally, these were a lot of solution patterns that had already been proven out. And so we were quickly able to turn around a solution that provides both information at the state level as far as finance goes, as well as the locals, and obviously provided all. You can see in the this was when the screenshot was taken, but all of this information flows through nightly. So all the information entered from the previous day are all online in a completely automated fashion in the morning. So that's obviously been a good use case and example of leveraging technology and processes and architectures that have been put in place and using those to rapidly develop solutions. Finally, another example of this with a public-facing website was the Top Jobs and In-Demand Jobs solution, which is an embedded Tableau-based solution. It replaced a PDF that had been out there, and obviously was not, the maintenance on that was more challenging. This obviously came in beneficial through COVID when, with its effects on the economy, for folks to be able to go in here and look at their experience level, preferences, education levels and things like that, and try to find jobs that are in demand and might be able to provide them a good path forward. So another use case where, again, this was done in a matter of months, weeks to a month, end to end to knock these projects out, and obviously that just is a testament to all the groundwork that had been laid. So real quick closing thoughts, guiding principles here. A couple, think big, start small and scale fast, right? It's important to pick up those quick wins. And, it's important to strike the balance between planning and the speed to execute, right? So no planning is obviously not a good thing. but you don't want to overplan as well. And if you've got a COE and some proven processes, a lot of times you can jump into execution and try to expedite the time to value there. I think it's important to focus on your current and upcoming use cases rather than getting too far ahead of yourself. There's a lot of innovation that's obviously happening in the data space currently, and it's important to understand what's on the horizon. Make sure you stay ahead of the near-term horizon, but don't get yourself wrapped around the axle for these long-term strategies and things like that may change before they ever come to fruition. So focus on tangible value, choose those right projects. They'll provide wins, get momentum behind the effort, and build solution patterns and other things that can be leveraged for future use cases. Use the enterprise self-service approach. So something that's completely enterprise obviously provides bottlenecks. Something that's completely self-service, lacks governance, and gives multiple versions of the truth, questionable data, and things like that. So you got to strike that right balance. That's something that's enterprise in approach, but sort of self-service in some of the implementation, and the groups are working together. So when assets are developed in a self-service model, but they benefit the enterprise, or they need some of the automation, security, all that stuff that IT is really good at, that those solutions come back to the enterprise and the IT groups to automate, secure, and govern those solutions so that they work all long going. They're not an operational task of someone going in, pulling spreadsheets, jamming them into Tableau every day, promoting them up to server. All of that happens in an automated fashion. Obviously drives down your operational costs and allows you to focus on newer use cases. Data sharing is important. Being able to drive that from the top, that folks understand the importance of data and being reasonable with their expectations of others' need to use their data. So controlling data and creating data silos is not an effective strategy at this point, although it is one that's fairly prevalent still. And a lot of times it's going to take executive leadership to break down those barriers and get folks sharing data and understanding they're not losing control, but rather able to solve new problems by sharing data in new ways. And then again, multi-level communication and making sure you're communicating, getting that executive sponsorship, but also working down through the levels in the organization to make sure everybody's been communicated with effectively in a way that makes sense for their level. Kind of last slide here, some additional considerations. Stay agile. Work through that prototype first mentality. That's a good way to ensure that your projects, A, get delivered quickly, B, have value delivered through them because they've been working closely with the business throughout the process to make sure their requirements meet expectations, or the product meets the requirements and expectations. Build your trust in data. Data all has gaps and biases in it, but don't overthink and over-prepare and over-plan, right? Think about what's good enough for the use case at hand, right? And if directionally correct information is good, then don't get yourself wrapped around the axle trying to make sure every data element is perfectly aligned to that solution. Other solutions will require that level of preciseness in the data, and for those, obviously, for those opportunities, you have to put that in place. But choose the right level of data trust based off of what you're trying to accomplish. Embrace technology intelligently. There's new bells and whistles coming online all the time. It can take some work to understand hype from reality. COEs, that's a good way for a COE to help vet those things so that different buzzword, hypey technologies aren't being bought all over the place that can't ever get properly integrated with a cohesive approach. That's a recipe for challenging integration, challenging architecture projects rather than projects that are just focused on delivering the value of the use case. And then, again, just be unafraid, right? So just try some things, try some prototypes, work with data that's, in its current form. There's no better way to get better data than to start, shedding some light on it. So don't be so unafraid, that you're not willing to kind of put yourself out there and execute on data projects. But again, you need to be measured and realistic about what's able to be accomplished. So with that, I will open it up and see if there's any questions from the audience. And I think Nehul's been monitoring that a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. We certainly encourage questions from the participants. Please use the chat. Jeff, I mean, just a wealth of information here. I've got a couple right off the top of my head, if you don't mind.
Sure.
A lot of the concepts of a COE can seem a little bit pie in the sky. But the pragmatic implementation, you mentioned the state of Ohio, it's a robust entity, right, with a lot of moving parts and pieces, but it's been successfully implemented. There's a lot of tangible value that's been derived from implementing that. What's some quick advice you would give an organization that may already have deep roots in their existing BI platform, their analytics capabilities, but want to really pivot to a center of excellence mindset? What's that journey like?
Yeah. I mean, I think a couple things. One, I would recommend, getting some level of, executive sponsorship. Obviously, that helps to pivot an organization. Also will help keep everyone moving in the same direction when, folks aren't off just buying point solutions and things like that may work against what other folks are trying to do. So, that's kind of in that, be a little bit measured in how you're proceeding. Certainly I would recommend getting a strategy, come up with a roadmap for your organization, where you're trying to head. That allows the COE to kind of have, a bit of a beacon to follow and understand, where the organization is strategically heading from a data perspective, and they can continue to align capabilities, architecture, training, all process, methodology, all that stuff towards where the organization is trying to head from a strategy perspective. And they can really be kind of the engine to help pivot the whole organization. Obviously, there's likely to be some technology changes along the way. They can help smooth out the edges for those, obviously, which can be challenging to do at times. But again, I would recommend, kind of that, get your strategy together, get a roadmap with some tangible steps that are focused on near-term value, and have the longer-term items out there, but don't spend too much time on those longer-term items, and then start chipping away, get some wins, get some momentum, get some use cases out there, get some architecture patterns proven, so that then the dominoes start falling, and the new approach just becomes sort of gradually the new way of doing things, and it's not a rip and replace type of methodology, but rather over time everyone just realizes this is a way that a lot of value has been derived, and this is the process and way of doing things.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting too, because the core principles of a center of excellence, no matter where you are in your analytics journey, isn't always just solely dependent on technology investment, right? It's not just buying the greatest next solution out there.
Yep.
Talk to us a little bit about your experience in working, with a diverse group of business owners and really helping them adopt a mentality of, self-service and the confidence to really leverage analytics for their own needs, right? We're giving the power of analytics to them. That's really one of the great tangible values of a center of excellence. Walk us through that journey in your experience with that.
Well, I think in that one, the COE, the diversity in the COE helps match the diversity on the business side, right? So if you come, we talked, one of the first slides, there was the analytics maturity and how different groups within the organization will be in completely different spots. Some are very technologically strong from a skill set perspective. Some of them have, lots of change going on. They're all in a different spot as far as their use of data and knowledge of data and technical capabilities, et cetera. So the COE can kind of provide some equivalent diversity, right? If you have, instead of a COE, you've got just a help desk, and that help desk, is limited in what it can provide from a diversity perspective. So let's just say, for example, they don't have the technology know-how to keep up with those advanced users out there. Those users are going to stall out a little bit. Or, if you have just a very, very technical shop and then you've got newer folks with less data capability, then you're just going to be talking past those folks, right? So neither of those lead to good outcomes. So I think, having a COE that's going to have that same level of diversity that models the diversity that exists out in the business, both from, a skill set perspective, different perspectives within the business overall, understanding the different stakeholders throughout the organization, all of those types of things can help add up to kind of meeting folks where they're at and not, dragging them down, but also not talking past them and picking them up where they're at and being able to pull them forward from there.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, clearly the value prop is speed to value, right? And I think that's the beauty of a center of excellence, what it can provide any organization. And again, it doesn't have to be a large, robust, multi-headed organization. It can be a small company that is really making an investment in leveraging analytics to really take it to the next step. That's the beauty.
I think it's the attributes of it, right? It's not a specific structure you're going for, anything like that. It's a group, or you have a virtual group that can help address some of the challenges that we talked about today. The implementation of it is going to need to be your own because every organization is a little bit different. But I think the value it provides is helping to get past some of the challenges that we've talked about today and delivering that value in a consistent and fast manner.
Yeah. Jeff Brown, this was fantastic. Thank you for your time, man. Really, really appreciate it. I know, for those that are interested in taking this on, certainly reach out to us. Come visit us at our virtual booth. Visit us at avaap.com. We've got a whole host of folks that have assisted, collaborated, partnered with clients on this data journey, implementing a center of excellence, and really just driving tangible value in a very efficient and effective way, bringing everyone along for that journey as well. With that said, hope everyone has a great day 3 of Tableau Conference. Jeff, thanks again for the time. Have a great day.